Most beginner mixes are not too bad, they're just too safe. And because of that, they lack energy, vibe, and everything else that we want for in a good mix. So here's the mistake I see all the time. So take a look at these guitars. Now that sounds really solid, but if we actually look at these guitars, if I pull up an EQ here, there's actually a lot going on down here, like sub 100 hertz. And a lot of people would see that 50 hertz and they'd immediately want to take it all away. Now, I am cutting things below 50 hertz because there's that like super sub low content that we don't need to replicate, and we need to make sure that our speakers have enough headroom to be able to replicate all of the other frequencies that they are trying to produce. But that 50 to 100 hertz is usually that sub-low content, and we don't necessarily need to cut it out all the time. In the context of the mix, it sounds great. Here's the kicker, and here's a light bulb moment for you. If we roll everything up to 100 hertz or 200 hertz or 150 hertz, where a lot of people will roll their electric guitars off or even other stuff, it kind of shifts how we hear the fundamental. The fundamental is the lowest periodic frequency in any sort of waveform at all. So when you look at the frequency spectrum, you can look at the lowest periodic frequency. That's your fundamental. When you shift things, what you're doing is you're changing what the lowest part of that entire sound is. And in the case of these guitars, if I roll up a whole bunch here, the lowest frequency that we'd be hearing is 150 hertz or 200 hertz, which, by the way, is where all of our mud sits. So if I come back here, bring this back to 50 hertz, let me solo 200 and some hertz here. So 223 hertz, I'm going to solo this, and I'm going to let you guys listen to how muddy this actually sounds. It sounds super muddy. And if that's the lowest part of the guitar, that means everything's going to sound thin and super muddy. So we do want some of that lower content being played down here as well. We just don't want as much of it. So instead of grabbing in a low cut, rolling everything off, we want to attenuate it. And in this case, I'm actually boosting a little bit because I really liked the way this sounded. I like to think of it as the hero. But before I get into that, I want to battle you to a producer battle. Next week, starting on July 23rd, 2025, we are running the producer challenge again. Last time it was incredible, but this time it's free. You get a vocal stem, you get to watch us make a song from scratch, completely live, and you get to follow me and one other producer, and you also get to produce the song yourself, and we'll even be able to listen to it at the end. Links to that will be down in the description below if you'd like to join. So what do I mean by the hero? When I'm talking about the hero of the sound, usually our ear typically goes to the lowest part of it, and that seems to be the bass, the hero. And so we want to be very clear of what the hero needs to be. In a lot of cases, we don't want the hero to be that 250 muddy sound or that 150 muddy sound. We kind of like that lower content that's going on, but we just need to tame it a little bit and attenuate it just a touch. In the case of the synths, I don't want any of that low content there because I want this to fit alongside everything else. The hero for the synths is that mid-range. So stop cutting the energy out of your tracks if it doesn't need it. Before you ever add a high-pass filter, listen and say, does it need it? Or am I just looking at it and thinking it needs it because there's stuff down there that I typically wouldn't want down there? Remember, mixing is an art form. Lean into it. Become an artist. And if you'd like to join the producer challenge, the link to that will be down in the description below. Otherwise, you're going to love this video here. I'll see you over there. Now, as always, go create.